Hi children, good morning. You may be wondering what I am doing with all these implements right now, right? So these are all agricultural implements you can see here. I use all these implements for my gardening. I have a small plot of land and I use these tools for gardening. So here I am just going to give you some information regarding agricultural practices. That is in our class 8 chapter 1 crop production and management. So go through my video and comment me if you have any suggestions regarding my video. Well children, today I am going to teach you about crop production and management. This is a class 8 chapter 1 topic. Now first of all, what do you mean by crop? Crop is the same kind of plant grown and cultivated at one place in a large scale, the same span of time. It is called a crop. So crop is the same kind of plant grown and cultivated in a large scale in one place. Now, based on the product obtained from the crop, it is called produce. Now based on the produce, what you are getting from the crops can be divided into various heads. First is cereal crop, next pulses, third oilseed, fourth rooted crops like beetroot, fiber crop like jute, cotton, then tuber type crop like potato. So these are certain types of crops based on the product obtained from the crop. Next type of crop is based on season. Based on season, there are two types of crops, rabi crop and kharif crop. Rabi crop are those crops that are grown generally in the rabi season, that is the winter season. The sowing time of this crop is October to November and harvesting time is March to April. So general crops that are grown in the rabi season are wheat, gram, pea, mustard, etc. And the kharif crops are those crops that are sown in or is grown in June to July and harvested in the month of September to October. Now this type of crop includes paddy, soybean, then cotton, maize, etc. There is one more crop in between Rabi and grown in between Rabi and Kharif season, that is the month of July to March to June. After the harvest of the Rabi crop and before the beginning of the Kharif crop. That type of crop is called Zaid crop. Zaid crop is not discussed in NCERT book, so I want to tell you about Zaid crop. These are generally the vegetable crops, that is brinjal, chilies, cucumber, all these are Zaid crops. The next topic of your chapter is agricultural practices. Now agricultural practices, what does it mean? Now see, before growing a crop, or during growing a crop, cultivation of crop deals with several type of activities. So the farmer undergo various type of activities, or the farmers undertake different type of activities throughout the period of time of the crop growth. Now these activities are together known as agricultural practices that include preparation of soil, the first topic, then sowing of the seed, then comes adding manure and fertilizer, fourth is irrigation, that is watering the crop plants, next is protection from weeds or weeding, then come harvesting, threshing and winnowing, it is the last part of the crop production, and finally storing the crop in a proper place. So children, the next topic is preparation of soil. Now preparation of soil includes plowing or tilling. Now what is plowing or tilling? And before I go to plowing, now let me tell you that soil is the medium where the plants grow, because soil helps to anchor the roots, supply the water and nutrient, or also to supply the oxygen. Okay. Now soil microorganisms are also present in the soil that also help to increase the fertility of the soil. Now plowing is mainly meant for loosening and turning the soil. Plowing helps in loosening and turning. Now plowing is done by plow. Plow is a very traditional implement which may be of two types, wooden or iron plow. Generally wooden plow were used in ancient times. Now iron plows are also used. Now plow can be even driven by a tractor or by the help of a pair of bullock. Now plow consists of two main parts. This is the wooden or the iron part is called the plough share. With the help of this plough share, the ploughing is done that turn up the soil, and this is the plough shaft that is attached to the plough share. And there is a beam. The beam is actually attached here, and which is put on the neck of the pair of bullock. So this is the structure of a plough. Now plough helps to make the soil loose, and sometimes manure is also added before ploughing so that it gets mixed well in the soil. Now what are the advantages of ploughing? Now let me discuss. First is ploughing helps to loosen the soil. Then ploughing also uproot the unwanted weeds present in the soil. Ploughing help in mixing the manure and fertilizer to the soil. And also ploughing loose the soil, that helps in the growth of microbes and friendly microbes and earthworm. You know, earthworms are known as farmer's friend. So these are certain advantages of ploughing. Ploughing also brings up the nutrient-rich soil from the lower layer of the soil to the topper layer. Means the lower layer of the soil turns up into the topper layer and the nutrients come on the top. So these are the certain advantages of ploughing. Next come leveling. Now leveling is sometime after ploughing you can see that big crumbs of soils are still present on the field. Now it is necessary to break these big crumbs with the help of a plank. The plank is actually made up of wood or piece of log. Now it is necessary to break the crumbs with a plank. So the field is leveled for sowing and for proper irrigation. So the leveling is done with the help of a leveler. So these are the two main processes of preparation of soil, ploughing and leveling. Now children, see next topic, uses of plough. Now plough are generally used to till the soil. It is also used to mix the manure in the soil and to remove the unwanted weeds from the crop field. So these are the uses of plough. Next topic is hoe. Now hoe is a tool. It's also a traditional tool made of wood, long rod of wood or iron, which has a strong, broad and bent iron plate. You can see I have drawn here the bent iron plate which is attached to the hoe. This is a grip which is holded, and it is the grip is used to hold the hoe, and this is the handle by which the grip is holded, and this is the beam. The beam is used fixed on the pair of bullock, and you see there is a rod. This rod is attached to the bent plate. So this is the structure of the hoe. Now hoe is generally used to loosen the soil and to remove the weeds from the field. Next come cultivator. Now cultivator is, in these days cultivator is used. It is a modern tool and generally it is driven by tractors, and it saves labor and time both. Next come leveler. Now leveler is a large piece of wooden or iron plank. Generally it is a iron plank, and it can be also pulled by animals or tractor. Generally this leveler is used in the field before sowing of seed. So these are the main implements. The next topic is sowing of seed. Now sowing of seed will be discussed. So the next topic is sowing of seed. Now sowing means putting the seed in the soil. Now how can you put the seed in the soil, or what are the ways of sowing? So there are few ways of sowing. First way is broadcasting. Broadcasting means you just take the seeds and just scatter in the field. Okay, scatter it, or take a wholesome of seed in your hand and scatter. So example is coriander. Coriander is also sowed by broadcasting method. Next come transplantation method. Transplantation method is generally seen in paddy, tomatoes, chilies. Now what does it actually mean? Now in case of some plants like paddy or tomato or chilies, seeds are not directly sown in the field. So what it is done? First the seeds are sown in the nursery bed. Nursery bed means a small plot of land where the seeds are sown, and then when they grow into seedlings or plantlets, they are selected, means the selected good seeds are selected, and then they are taken from the nursery bed, and then they are transplanted, or they are then put in the soil in the main field. So this helps the farmer to select only the healthy seedling, so that they can get good yield, and also it helps to give proper space to the crop plant, because they sow the seed in a nursery bed without giving space by broadcasting, and then they sow it in the main field by keeping a proper distance between the two crop plants. So the third method is by using seed drill. Now seed drill, actually it is a age-old practice. In the ancient times, seed drill was done by taking a simple funnel. Now in the simple funnel has an opening that lead to a long tube. So suppose there is a funnel, you know the funnel used for drawing oil. So this type of funnel is there. So in the funnel you put the seed. The seeds are put in the funnel. So it passes through this hole, and this funnel is attached to a long tube. Okay. Now this long tube thus passes to the soil, and as the farmer plows the soil, so these seeds passes from the tube and get inserted in the soil, and then this soil is covered by the soil. The seeds are covered by the soil after sowing them. So this is the mechanism of sowing seed with the help of seed drill. Now what are the precautions of sowing seed? Now while sowing the seed, you should follow some of the precautions. The seed should be of good quality. Why? Good quality means? Good quality means disease-free seed or healthy seeds, so that the yield will be good. Next point is they should be sown in correct depth, so that they can get proper aeration. And if it is sown in the surface, then the birds or insects or rodents like caterpillar or rat and squirrel, they may damage or eat the seeds. And next the seeds should be sown at proper distance. Why? In order to prevent overcrowding. So these are the 3 precautions of sowing the seed. The next topic is manual. Now as I told you that the seed sown should be of good quality. That is a precaution, major precaution of taken for sowing the seed. Now how will you understand that the seed is good in quality? For that you can do one activity. You can see I have drawn one beaker. In the beaker I have drawn some water and drawn some seeds floating above on the water, and some seeds that have sunk down in the water. So what does it imply? This implies that you have to take a beaker and fill it with 3/4 of water and put some seed, any seed like coriander, wheat, gram, and leave this beaker for 1 to 2 hours undisturbed. Now you can see after 1 to 2 hours that few seeds will settle down, while some will float on the surface of the water. So what will you conclude from this experiment? That the seeds which settle down are good quality and healthy. So these are fit for sowing. And while the others that are floating on the water, they are not of good quality. Now why it happens that the good quality seeds sink down while the poor quality seed float on the surface of the water? This is because the cotyledon present in the seed is, or the embryo which is present, the food, intact food in the seed is eaten away by the insects. So that's why they are hollow and they become light in weight. That's why they float. While the good quality seed, actually they are healthy because they are not eaten away by any insect. So they sink at the bottom of the container or the beaker. So this is the experiment you can do to select good quality seed. Okay, next topic of today's subtopic is manuring. So today I will be teaching you up to manuring. Next day I will tell you about irrigation and the other part of the chapter. So manuring. Manuring means apply nutrient to the soil. So why we need to apply manure to the soil? In order to make the soil fertile and supply the plants with mineral nutrients to the crop. Now these nutrients are essential for the growth of the plant. Now the farmer can grow crop after crop in the same field. Now after suppose the farmer is harvesting the crop, again if he does not apply any manure, then the already grown crop in the previous season will take away all the nutrients and the nutrients will be depleted. So as a result, what will happen? The crop in the next season, it will not grow properly and the yield will be reduced. So therefore, to replenish the nutrient present in the soil, manuring should be done. Now manuring can be done by two methods. I have written here, see, natural manuring and manuring using fertilizer and manure. Now what is natural manuring? Natural manuring means here the farmer, he follow three type of practices. He follows field fallow method or crop rotation method or mixed cropping method. Now what is field fallow method? Field fallow method means in this practice the field is left uncultivated between the two crops. That means suppose there is one crop in the Rabi season, another in the Kharif season. So the Zaid season, that is the in-between season, he is leaving the field without cultivating. So what happens during this gap period of between the two crops, the soil again regain the lost nutrients naturally by decomposition method of the dead remains of plants and animals by microbes, and the soil again become fulfilled with the nutrient. So this practice is not followed nowadays, because nowadays population is growing up in a such rate and people need more and more food. So the farmers do not keep the land fallow. Basically, many parts of the country, these fields are not kept fallow. Next come the crop rotation. So what is crop rotation? Here each crop uses more of the nutrients or less than the other. Suppose some crop is using more potassium, some is using more nitrogen. So it may depend on the type of crop. So here what happens, if different type of crop are grown with specific nutrient requirement in specific season, that is called crop rotation. So this practice of crop rotation is very useful for farmers. Next topic is mixed cropping. Now mixed cropping is sometimes suppose two or more crops are grown together in the same field. Now suppose cabbage is grown along with mustard and potato. So this is mixed cropping. Now in this technique, the crop are selected so that the nutrient needs of one crop is fulfilled by the other. For example, another example I am giving, like cereal crop, like wheat, rice. This can be grown with a leguminous plant like a pea or a soya bean. Because leguminous plant, it hosts the symbiotic bacterium in its root nodules known as rhizobium. So this leguminous plant enrich the soil with nitrogen, and this nitrogen can be useful for the plants like paddy or wheat. So this is mixed cropping. So these field fallow, crop rotation and mixed cropping. These three methods are natural methods for manuring the soil. Next come the using of manure and fertilizer. Now using of manure and fertilizer, before going to that, let me discuss about definitions of manure and fertilizer. Now manure is organic substance. So manure is organic substance, while fertilizer is inorganic substance. So manure is made in the field or by the farmer or in the farm, and fertilizer is made in the factories. Manure, it can enrich the soil with humus as it is organic in nature, but fertilizer, as it is inorganic salt, so it does not enrich the soil with humus. Next is manure are not nutrient specific, means a particular nutrient is not present in manure. It may be mixed with so many types of nutrients. Okay, while fertilizer is a specific manure, means for a specific nutrient is present in the fertilizer. Suppose NPK. Here NPK contain nitrogen, stands for N, P potassium, phosphorus. So these are the NPK. So children, the next topic is compost. Now, what is compost making? So the next topic is fertilizers. Now, after manure, fertilizers are chemical substances which are rich in a particular nutrient like NPK, urea, superphosphate, then CAN, CAN. These are various type of fertilizers. Now, fertilizers are made in the factories and they are specific in particular nutrient. Now, like you see NPK, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. These are the components in a NPK. Now, what do you mean by CAN? CAN means calcium ammonium nitrate. CAN is calcium ammonium nitrate. So, these are the various type of fertilizers which are made in the factories. Now, what are the advantages of fertilizers? Why do we opt for fertilizers, or the farmer they spray the fertilizer or they add the fertilizer to the soil? Because it is very easily soluble in water and hence it can be taken up by the roots very easily by the root hair. Secondly, they can be easy to store and handle because they are lighter in weight than that of the manure. And then I told you already that they are specific in particular nutrient. So if the soil is depleted by nitrogen, so the farmer can add urea. Like if the calcium content in the soil is decreased, so the farmer can add CAN. So specific nutrients are present in the fertilizers. So these are very easily soluble and the farmer can apply it in the soil. But there are some disadvantages. Now, as these are inorganic and man-made components, so they make the soil less fertile. How? Because they leach the soil. Leaching means they just change the pH of the soil. Either they can make it highly alkaline or acidic depending upon the nature of the fertilizer. Now, excess fertilizer if given in the soil year after year, it can wash away with the rainwater to the nearby water body and it can dissolve in this water body and can increase the growth of the weeds, aquatic weeds like water hyacinth, duckweed. There are so many type of weeds, aquatic weeds, that can increase the growth because of the enrichment of the water body with these fertilizers. And eventually you see when these aquatic weeds are growing in a large number in the water body, so the dissolved oxygen present in the water body decreases. So if the dissolved oxygen decreases, then the aquatic animals surviving in this water body like shrimps or crabs or fishes, they lack the oxygen. So BOD, biological demand for oxygen, BOD means biological oxygen demand for these animals increase. So these are inversely proportional. So when there is decrease in the DO, that is dissolved oxygen, there is an increase in the BOD. So these are the disadvantages of fertilizers. So last of all, I want to tell you about manure and fertilizer in a nutshell. That is, manure is organic, fertilizer is chemical. Manure is made in the farmland and fertilizer is made in the factory. Manure add humus to the soil, but fertilizer does not add such humus. Manure change the texture of the soil and increase the friendly microbes in the soil, but fertilizer does not do it. So these are the certain features or differences between manure and fertilizer. So keep watching my video for the next part, irrigation and weeding, in the next video. Hi children. So see, I have just told you about manuring and about the sowing of seed. Now right now you can see some plants growing here and I have some weeds here in my garden. So I am uprooting these weeds. You can see I am uprooting these weeds. So there are various type of weeds. In the next topic I am going to tell you about various type of weeds and the process of weeding. So keep watching my video, like it and share it, and even you can subscribe my channel. Thank you.